Good afternoon, I'm Neil Pline, Director of Sales for Invest and Retire. And a few months back, the retirement industry received some exceptionally positive news. In 2011, the average 401k balance in America rose 12% from last year. Boston-based Fidelity Investments, in their 2011 annual study, found that the average 401k balance in the United States had risen to $75,000. At nearly the same time, the United States government conducted its own little study called the Census, which showed that the average American annual income was about $50,000. So if we take these numbers and do a little bit of simple math, we can see that the average 401k balance is equivalent to a year and a half's worth of income. With most Americans expecting to retire at age 65, but having a life expectancy of around 80, that 1.5 years worth of income has to last them 15 years at least. So clearly, something in this equation has gone wrong. There is an easy fix though, because the success of 401k plans for participants comes down to plan design. And in this regard, the equation is simple. I call it the 3 C's: cost, compounding, and contribution. To sum this up, you want to have a plan that offers low-cost investments, so participants can keep as much money in their accounts as possible. You then want this money to compound through quality performance. And finally, even if you offer the best performing funds in the world to participants, they won't reach their retirement goals unless they are contributing enough. All of these factors must be present for success. But the problem that most 401k plans have is finding a way to offer all of this to participants in a coordinated manner. If we start by looking at the cost of investments, the lowest cost funds available are exchange traded, known as ETFs. In fact, in July of last year, the Center for Retirement Studies at Boston College found that by switching to ETFs, the average 401k plan could lower its total plan cost by anywhere from 70 to 200 basis points annually. So if we offer participants low-cost ETFs, what about compounding? What about performance? Perhaps the most foundational and accepted study in the investment community is known as the Briskin study, which showed that nearly 94% of historical returns can be attributed to asset allocation, your mix of stocks and bonds, while only 6% can be attributed to market timing or picking the hottest fund. These numbers match almost exactly what we see at Invest and Retire. If given the option, the overwhelming number of participants would rather have their investments managed by a professional than pick funds or follow guides themselves. To offer this, plans can hire an ERISA 338 investment manager to design age-based asset allocation models using ETFs. A participant can be defaulted into a model based on age, then move through models from aggressive to conservative as they approach retirement. This is similar to a target date fund in theory, but asset allocation models offer 3 substantial advantages. First of all, target date funds are expensive, meaning we've already lost the advantage of the first C, low cost. Second, asset allocation models account for need, which target date funds do not. If you had an older participant, for example, with a low 401k balance that knew very little about investing but wanted to take on a little more risk, moving to another target date fund would be very difficult. Trying to find an entry point in the glide slope consistent with need, but moving to a more aggressive asset allocation model, on the other hand, is simple. As this leads to the third and last primary advantage, transparency. The returns and benchmarking of target date funds are difficult to understand, which makes it hard to plan for retirement. Asset allocation models, such as the ones that I'm showing here that we use at Invest and Retire, have historical rates of return measured since 1973. They provide the clarity needed to plan. So cost and compounding leads to the third C, contribution. Now, even despite these impressive returns on the models I just presented, like I mentioned earlier, we can offer the best performance in the world to participants, but if they're not contributing enough, they're not going to be able to meet their retirement goals. And this can be conveyed clearly through a retirement calculator that works with the asset allocation models and your company's payroll information to easily convey what participants need to contribute in order to reach their retirement goals. For example, if we look at the graph I just used and focus on the return of that aggressive model, 11.11%, let's see what the experience could be like for an entry-level participant. Pre-populating information, such as what's shown here with the retirement calculator developed by Invest and Retire, the majority of the work has been done for the participant. You can see their age is 27, they're making $45,000, contributing 3%, and in a model which is returning that 11.11% historical return. By simply clicking Next, we can see in dollars the amount needed for retirement and the estimated shortfall in red that results from this current information. Now, directly below this number, I can see the percentage increase that would be needed to meet my retirement goals. I'm currently contributing 3%, but I would have to contribute an additional 3% to a total of 6% in order to meet my goals. Now, all the participant has to do is increase their contribution rate, move to a more aggressive model with a higher rate of return, or retire a little later. If we go back and increase the contribution rate from 3 to 6% and click Next, now I see in green that I'll have a surplus at retirement, and I'm done. That took 30 seconds. This person makes $45,000, is 27 years old, and is on track to receive the estimated $2 million needed for retirement. This is pretty clear from start to finish for the participant. But what about the plan sponsor? By hiring that ERISA 338 investment manager who professionally designs the asset allocation models, the plan sponsor can completely remove their fiduciary responsibilities and legal liabilities for the investment options in their plan. And because this investment manager is using ETFs with no revenue sharing on Invest and Retire's state-of-the-art record-keeping platform, all of the plan's costs can be allocated to participants on their quarterly statements in dollars and cents, ensuring that the plan is fully compliant with the Department of Labor's regulatory changes on fee disclosure in November. And lastly, because of this high level of transparency offered through technology, plans can deliver all of their information electronically to their auditors to perform a virtual audit, which costs on average 40 to 60% less than normal audits and results in an unqualified opinion, so your plan has full protection in the event of a DOL audit. So in conclusion, retirement plan success can be offered to your participants through the 3 C's: cost, compounding, and contribution. Thank you for your time, and check out investandretire.com for more information.